So I've been thinking a lot about how to start on this or where to go with the engine. The main thing that I want to do on this engine is to not pull apart the short motor. It turns alright. I've had a look at the pistons. They're a little bit bad. Well, they're probably more than bad, but they've got a lot of carbon deposits on the crowns. It's not the best. There's a bit of pitting on the deck. The head needs a little bit of work, but I don't really want to pull apart the walk and the drop gear or flywheel housing, etc. So what we're going to do is just the bare minimum. It's full of oil, by the way. I've got to drain that oil. It's been in there for plus 10 years. So that's what I think. I think this is a 10-year-old motor, or last run 10 years. When he took all apart, his plan was to redo the body, but I don't know if there was something wrong with the engine which then triggered him to decide to do a full restoration. So I don't know if there was damage to the gearbox or anything else. So we're going to try to do this by the bare minimum. All we're going to do is replace the timing chain to put a brand new duplex timing chain on there. We'll put the timing cover, we'll take the old seal out and put a new seal in, reinstall the timing cover, fit a new water pump. We're going to do a little bit of work with the head. We're going to replace the rocker shaft. I'll take the valves out, clean the valves. I'll probably even take the head to a mate who has an engine rebuilding shop. He'll do a vacuum check on the head. Yeah, and I'll just get his advice on the overall condition of this head. I don't want to deck it anymore or skim it. It looks like it's been well skimmed, probably up to 70 thou. So we're going to leave it as is. We're going to use the old studs, even though a lot of people say that you should never reuse old studs. So we'll keep them in there and just try to keep this as original as possible. So the Dizzy is out. I've got the Dizzy in a box. I put the sock in here when I trucked it up from Melbourne. I'll have to reinstall the relief valve or the pressure valve. Yeah, pressure relief valve. Put that on. Yeah, we'll reinstall this, put a new filter in there, drain all the oil. Yeah, we'll tidy it all up. We're going to clean up, close all of the ports, and we're going to strip it back with paint stripper and assemble the head actually, lock it down, keep the rocker cover on. We're going to paint strip it, get all the paint off as best as we can. I'm going to respray the block and the wok. So on the GTs, the whole thing was sprayed, including the gearbox. So there's a lot of crud on the back here. Move it away from the car so it doesn't drop on it. Yeah, we're going to replace the seals on these. Yeah, there's a lot to do. The cleaning is probably the most important thing first up. So, yeah, first thing, I'll take the rocker shaft out, and I'll take all of the push rods out, and we'll number them and just put them to the side. I might apply heat and try and peel it off. I want to reuse it. It's got nice rounded edges. I think that might be original. We can get replacement ones. The replacement ones don't have rounded edges. Not that you can't cut it, but that may be original. So we might either tape over it if we can't get it off with a bit of heat, or try to remove it, and then we'll strip all the paint off, redo it. So I'll just take this off and show you inside, and you can see it's well gunked up. Looking pretty seedy. Yeah, well gunked up. I've taken this apart already, just to take the head off to look at the deck and the pistons. But I'll undo these, take the shaft off, soak everything, We'll take all the valves out and we'll clean the head up separately, and then we'll work on the block and yeah, get it clean. Take this off and replace the timing chain. Yep, but we won't be touching the oil pump and any of this, so that's going to stay as is. Got some spare gaskets, gasket kit. I don't have a gasket for the timing chain cover, but I'm planning to use full sealant there instead. I don't want to use the gasket again. I've had bad success there, bad luck. Yep, got a new head gasket, GEG 300. It's one of them. Got a new fan. Got a new mini spares fuel pump. Water pump. And that's actually the gasket for it. There's another gasket in here. It got a bit damaged. We've already epoxy primed the slave cylinder for the clutch. New timing chain, oil seal. What do we call this part? Speedo drive housing. New engine mounts. Tappet chest cover seals. We got some valve stem seals. This is the little part for the bypass valve. New oil filter. We've got all new studs now for the thermostat and a new thermostat. There's the rocker shaft, and that's about it. We're not going to do a hell of a lot more with the engine. We'll see how we go anyway. Just remember the name of these things. They're called Welsh plugs. So we'll check if any of them are leaking a bit later. All right, well, we didn't mess around here. We're well underway. So, head first, all the valves are out. I've got them all individually bagged, each valve. Now I managed to actually get out the bypass valve, and I'll just show you quickly wherever the remnants were. Here it is. So that was all that was left. I just hit it with WD-40, let it soak for about an hour, and then tried to undo it. It was still really tight, so I hit it with heat. I used MAP gas and just went around the nut. I've had one of these get stuck on me before when we've had to drill it out on a on a drill press, and yeah, then we had to tap it, and it was a bit messy, but I was very careful with this. I used heat, went all the way around the nut, hit it up. I heard a little bit of a pop, and then I had another go and it came undone. And so this is what it should look like, more or less. These are the new ones that you can get aftermarket now. Turn to the right thread. I think it's a fancy thread as well. So I'll just show you quickly. So in the head, this is a bypass valve for water or coolant. Just screws in really nicely now. Goes all the way in. Feels pretty smooth, the action. Nice and tight. We'll obviously put a compound on the thread. I was thinking of actually using some copper paste so it doesn't seize up again, but I'll just do some research. I don't know if it's got to be something that's going to be more like a Loctite to secure it in and make sure the water doesn't flow around the edge, so we have to research that. The head is not in that great a condition, so you might be able to see here there's a little ledge, and generally there's a couple of thousandths of an inch higher on the deck to this ledge, but you can see here there's none. It's been milled down or faced more or less to that ledge. It might have even taken a bit of that ledge out, I'm not sure, but we've lost a lot of height on this deck. The condition's not too bad. Now I'll just show you, I came up with a bit of a trick to remove all of this carbon deposit. So I'll just get the tool here. So I bought this tool a long time ago. It's a ceramic denibber, and it's used for just getting out nibs in paintwork. It's got rounded edges, so when you do scrape it on a surface, it doesn't score the sides, rather than a square cutter like a razor blade. So using this, it gets all that that carbon deposit off without scratching the surface. I'll just show you quickly. So there's a little bit right there. I'll just put this on there and just run it. Off it came. I'll just do a little bit more. And it just comes straight off. It's important you don't drop these because they can shatter, but this works perfectly for a head. I'll just try and do this side over here. So I'll just run it flat on the surface at a bit of an angle. The rounded edges don't score the head, and we'll just go across, and it just comes straight off. Just cleans the surface up. So I'm in no mind to get this faced anymore. I don't want to take any more off. I just want to leave it as is. I'll just tidy this surface up, make sure there's no protruding parts. I went over a little bit before around here to take the high points off the water jacket. And yeah, it just runs smoothly. Obviously, I use this for paint, so these edges on the front, I don't scrape the head with them. I just use the side. But it just runs very smoothly over the head. Not to score it. Whatever scores you're seeing there is from the previous machine. It's not from the denibber. And there we go. So I've been doing that with the head. Put this here. Now with the engine, the block, I'll show you quickly. Pistons are 20 thou, it turns out. So it's been bored 20 thou from the original factory. And this one is not so great. So you might be able to see over there in the corner, there's a massive semi-crater, half a crater, and there's many imperfections, lots of craters in it, some scratches. This is by far the worst. I don't know what dropped in here, but yeah, look, there's a high point there. I don't think that's too good at all. Is it going to be the source of detonation? So yeah, that's not so great. The rest of the pistons are okay though. They don't have anything like that. That's just the worst. And there's surface rust, so yeah, not so great. I can feel it pretty well on the fingers, and it's in all of them. But I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to touch it. We're going to see if this engine works as is. I just want to make sure we got compression and oil pressure. They're the two main things. If we can achieve a semi-decent compression, get it timed, even if it's not full power, I don't mind. We'll just make sure it's got decent enough oil pressure though as well. So yeah, unfortunately that's the bad news of the engine, is the condition of this piston here, number 2. Yeah, there's the engine number, 9FXEY and 56365 with the little Aussie logo there. I don't know what that logo is. I'm thinking that that's just put on there by a machinist who may have done some work on this to bring it out to 20 thou, and he's just put his stamp on the end. Not entirely sure. I haven't seen the Australian logo like that before. Alright, so I spent about the best of half a day scrubbing away at this front face, getting all the dirt and muck off around all the cracks here, the gaps and recesses on the oil filter housing, and it's just taking forever. I'll never win getting this clean with just a little brush, so I'm going to go a little bit more brute force now. I'm going to close up everything, tape everything closed. I'll cover up all these. I'm going to put the original gasket on and then put the head back on, tighten it down and tape the head up, and we're going to go and degrease it outside and then hit it with a high pressure hose. I think that's the only way I'm going to get all this muck off. You see on the back here, it's all caked up here on the remote gearbox housing. So yeah, look, I think I'll hit it with a hose and see if we can get a lot of this out. At least it would, if it can get majority of this build up grime off, that'll be great. So anyway, I'll reassemble this. I'll take all these little plugs out, and yeah, we'll give it a blast outside. I've had the oil plug out for a week now, and there's still sludge dripping out of it, so I'm just going to tilt the engine, try and get a little bit more out of the gearbox here, get as much out as possible, and then we're going to fill it up with oil and get rid of this oil today. There's a council cleanup where they're going to collect oil, chemicals and such, so we want to get rid of this while they're around. Now the oil that came out, yeah, it was well old. I'm not too sure what the condition was. That's not too bad really. I mean, I get that amount of metallic filaments even with my working car, so we'll see how that is. He's used a dozen odd different washers here, so we'll get rid of all that, just put a brand new copper washer on. But yeah, I'll get all the rest of this sludge out and then we'll fill it up. Just going to go and take all the lifters out, the followers, sorry. We'll take all the followers out. I'll just make sure I don't mess them up. Pour the oil in from here and then, yeah, get rid of the old oil. Over here we've already cleaned all the valves, so I'll be looking to install them today, and I'll be taking it to a mate who owns an engine rebuild shop, reconditioning shop. We'll do some vacuum tests on those soon. See if we've got good vacuum on all of the valve ports. So even though we're going to install these gaskets, I'm going to still apply former gasket sealant number 2 on the inside of here. I'll run a bead around here and then we'll compress it on. Otherwise they will leak. I'll go ahead and do that now. Yep, and as expected, really loose chain. So if you have a look at this, this is the steel wool mesh gauze that comes out of the breather on the tappet chest cover. So I've had to just extract it all out. There's a little spring in there. I'll might just leave that in there, but yeah, if you look at that, this is probably about 60% of what I've taken out, and it was just caked up with oil and sludge. There's no way the engine's going to breathe with that packed up into the chamber. It's just solid oil. So what we're going to do, we still do need a, like the purpose of this is so to stop the oil going into the PCV valve and just let bypass and organic vapors pass through and then get sucked back into the intake. So I bought some stainless steel pot and pan scrub, 80 gram stainless steel scourer. This has not got soap on it. I'm not going to put the whole lot in there. I'll just put a percentage of this, just enough to make it sort of flow up into the chamber, but not be too high dense, so it's going to clog up and prevent the engine from breathing. So we'll go ahead. I've done this before on my other car, had some success with that. I use this stuff again, but on the other one, but just I have to cut it and just use a smaller amount. So I'll stuff it up in there. I've cleaned the outlet out, so we got a clear passage. So we'll pack that in and then we'll install this on the car. Alright, so I'll take this back off so we can tighten these other bolts on the underside. Alright, with the timing cover back on, we've been spending all day cleaning the engine, getting all the dirt and grime off and mud, oil, all of that. Degreasing, brushing. Now we've just done a bit of paint stripper, now we're going to do a bit of degreasing again, but the hardest part by far has been the rear of the gearbox. This rear diff cover, really hard to get all the mud out and the grime out, but if I paint it like that, the paint's not going to stick, so I've got to keep going at it and get that as clean as possibly can, especially under here. Still got a bit more to do under here, but it's getting there. We want to paint underneath the car, underneath the engine. We'll paint underneath here too. We won't be painting the gear lever housing, but we'll be certainly painting that. And the wok and the flywheel cover. Front of it's starting to come together. I'll just leave this paint on, it's not going to do any harm. Alright, we're just going to pick up the head. So we're down here in Southern Cross Engines in Kurrawi, Southern Sydney. So this is Jamie's workshop, so he's been doing a bit of work for me. Here we go, so we're just in his workshop here. We've got the Cooper head, or the GT head. He's just done a bit of a linish on the top surface there. So it hasn't skimmed it or anything. Just with a bit of paper on a flat tool, or like a die that's flat. It's just given an ever so slight linish there. So it's come up really nice. It's just done a bit of a clean there of the pockets as well. So yeah, come on down, see Jamie. Southern Cross Engines in Kurrawi. He's familiar with minis, so yeah, I'll be coming back to him again for sure. And we'll put this on the car.
Take 7 days to drive and decide if the car's right for you.
Mate, thank you. Yeah, all the best. See you around. I'll be back soon. See ya. Today, most of these were done before. I've just cut plated this piece, which I believe is for the above the radiator bracket or radiator shroud bracket. I think this is what holds the washer hose. So I've just zinc plated it and then passivated it with a blue dip. These ones I've done before. So gold cad there for the top of the radiator. Gold cad this for the top of the clutch arm. Those were done a long time ago. I tried these, it didn't really work out, but they've got a nice kind of brass look. So I've got all them for the fuel hoses, for the twin carbs. This thing was zinc plated, was for the clutch arm again, and this is also for the slave cylinder. We've got an option for 2 oil pressure relief valves. So I've used this one before in my other car, and it's ball with spring, but this combination, I was getting oil pressures in excess of 100 psi. It was actually going right off the scale, and I've gone ahead and got a new spring. This is the original style, this bullet style, that just slides in and out of the chamber, or back and forth, and I bought a new spring for that. It turns out that's the same dimension as the old one, although it does look like it's a thicker gauge. But I'll just show you side by side and you'll see the difference in length. But this spring goes up into the bullet, and if I just line them up roughly at the top, you can see you get another 2 or 3 revolutions of this spring, which really bumps up the pressure. So we'll go ahead and use this because with the less revolutions of spring, I'm hoping that it gets back to something more stable, like I'm expecting 40 or 60 psi, but we'll see. And I went ahead and put a new crush washer on here, so I'll install that. I've also tested this in the chamber to make sure that it slides perfectly inside and doesn't get jammed or snag on anything. There's a few scores on this, but it does motion nicely inside, so we'll put that back in and tighten it up. I'll tighten that up now. Alright, here we have it, guys. It's all painted now. We've done a couple of coats of the metallic green and then a couple of clear. So I've done the starter motor, and I noticed it said 671, which is the year that my Mini was built, June 71. So it's good to see probably a matching starter motor. I've tested this out on a battery and it spins, but we'll have to set it all up and see if it does crank. Made in Australia, Lucas. Yep, 671 stamp date. That's nice to see. I don't know if that's visible when we put it in the car, but that's all painted. Here's the engine. Gone ahead and painted the gearbox as the GTs were. It's a shame to cover up that nice aluminium, but that's how they were. We've gone ahead and painted all the housings as well. We'll have to start getting the tape off. Put a bit of tape over on these nuts because I prefer to have them shine. I think the silver goes well with the metallic green. Here's the Purelator oil filter canister, and this was the old seal that came in here. It just sat in there. I was painted over it, but it's crushed and it's pretty brittle. So I went ahead and bought this O-ring. However, this O-ring doesn't sit really well inside this cavity here. It's quite loose in there. It fits nicely over the bolt. It is a pretty neat fit. It's not snug, but it's not too bad. And I can see that this washer does sit a bit proud now with that O-ring, but what I'm going to do, just for reassurance, I'm going to put a smear of sealant in there, then the O-ring, and then bolt it all up. Hello? So I was going to go ahead and install one of these new engine mounts, which is in this like N shape, or yeah, bit of an N shape. And there's a lot of rubber density missing from this one. This is the original one, and you can see it's just a solid core of rubber. And looking in the records, this is a legitimate original engine mount, and these are just the new aftermarket ones. So in keeping with originality in this one case, I'm not going to install this. I'll just keep them as a spare. Even though this rubber is probably really brittle, it's not damaged. It's got a bit of a flex in it, but look, it looks like it's much more reliable, well-built product than these new ones. And yeah, it's got the appropriate shape. So I'll just tidy this up, just clean the surface, and we'll mount it on.